There are an insane number of people that don't understand how busy and how productive a construction site actually is. We're in a major housing crisis in the UK at the moment, and today I'm going to show you why it's not as easy to build houses as everyone thinks. I am currently working on a £22 million construction site based in the UK where we are building 52 new houses. And in this video we're going to talk about why the UK is so far behind in the construction industry and why it takes so long to build a house in the UK. I guarantee by the end of this video you'll understand why we are in this awful housing crisis and what the government have to do to solve it. So sit down, buckle up, and without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, I want to kick off by asking the question, how productive is a construction site in the UK, comparing the progress made from Monday to Friday? Okay, so starting off with one of the houses, you can see on the left that was before. You can't really tell too much, but inside all of the walls have gone up, and at the top the steel fixers have put down the flooring for the first floor. Moving on to the plot beside it, then you can see that on the left there is no white sheathing board on the first floor, but on the right there is, and that's what the steel fixers had done in the last 5 days. Moving on then to the groundworks, you can see on to the left, that is what you call a part of the underbuild where the wood is sticking up. Then on the right you can see we've backfilled all the way to the level of the foundation, and we've also laid the blue DPM and the Buildite insulation on top. A lot of progress made on this foundation. This is another plot with a lot of progress in the foundation. Before you can see the drainage and the blinding on the floor. Then on the right you can see we've put the insulation on, and we've even put the reinforcement all ready for the concrete pour. Once again we got another foundation. On the left you can see it's just the blue DPM with some drainage poking out above it. Then on the right you can see we've put the white insulation down, and we've also put reinforcement in it, all ready for a concrete pour. This foundation we actually poured the concrete on, so that is a fully finished foundation. And finally on the roofing, the tilers have made some good progress, which is great to see. I think this graph sums it up perfectly. In the same amount of time, China can build 7 million homes, and the same amount of time that America can build 1.5 million homes, the UK only builds 200,000. And I think just right from the get-go, that just demonstrates how far behind as a country that we are. But the answer as to why we are so far behind might not be what you are anticipating. You see, we all know about the labour shortage. We all know about the material shortage. But what nobody is talking about is how China owns most of their land, while the UK is a bit of a different story. To give you some perspective, the construction site I'm working on now has been in planning for at least 3 years, and that's without even building the buildings. We've been on site for the last 40 weeks building these houses. So it goes to show how long it takes us just to get the construction site up and running. Where you compare that to China, they're much quicker at that than we are. And this ultimately plays a massive role. China have centralized planning. The government owns and controls large parts of the land, and so they can push through development without years of approval. And when you also consider China's engineering as well, it puts the cherry on top with factory built housing. A lot of homes over there are built in factories, shipped to site, and basically just assembled really quickly. Whereas we are taking 8 weeks to build a foundation because of quality standards. That is why we are so far behind. Let's go back in time a little bit. You see, in World War II there was a lot of homelessness, so the UK government invested a lot of money into building cheap, affordable housing for the homelessness to stop the slums in certain areas of the UK, and ultimately it worked. And then Margaret Thatcher came along. She introduced the Right to Buy scheme. Now this scheme allowed people that lived in council homes to be able to buy these houses to live in them at a much cheaper price. So people bought these houses, the amount of social homes available went down, and the waiting list increased dramatically, which was the start of the UK housing crisis. And when you consider the fact that a lot of land in the UK is owned by private developers, and you also understand the fact that the land that they do own, the topography of the ground is so complex that if we were to build houses, it costs a lot of money and a lot of engineering. This is exactly what we've got going on in my construction site where I'm working at the moment. We're building houses on land which is a slope. And a very steep slope, to say the least, which ultimately is costing a lot of money. So how can these private developers build houses on land like that and then charge a fortune and then expect people to buy it? It's just not going to happen. And that is why it's such a complex problem that the UK government are trying to solve. But clearly they're having a lot of problems trying to solve it. From my point of view, as someone who's training to become a construction site manager, I think what the UK need to do differently is improve the speed of planning approval everywhere. It is actually taking longer to win planning approval on the construction site that we're currently working on than it will take to build the actual houses, which is quite incredible. And I also think we need to invest more money into off-site prefabrication to control more of the controllables and put the odds in our favor to speed up the process of construction. So to wrap this all up, if you think that construction is too slow, you're not wrong, but I hope this video has given you a little bit of an insight as to why this is the case. If you enjoyed this, consider subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.